The F175 event has just ended, and while it may have revealed a new aspect of the car's design, it has not given us any information on performance. However, there are still some whispers circulating, and some fans may be upset because there appear to be significant changes on the horizon. Seriously, I'm talking about a huge upset. Look at these upcoming car changes. First and foremost, according to Corriere della Sera, Ferrari's statistics from simulator tests would be approximately 4/10 gain in lap time for the team in red. How? The Ferrari suspension modification appears to be the key. Suspensions are one of the SF25's key advances. Remember the rumor that Ferrari was switching to a pull rod front suspension? Technical director Loic Serra's initial intervention would have focused on this area. We'll soon find out if there are any questions in this regard, since Ferrari will show off its new car today, February 19th, during the shakedown. To see the level of improvement, we will have to wait a little longer, perhaps until the pre-season tests from the 26th to the 28th, when rumors of this nature begin to emerge, or we may have to wait even longer and face reality in Australia, where everyone will put their meat on the grill and we will truly see where everyone is. However, others are wondering if 4/10 will be sufficient, as McLaren appears to have made even greater advantages. And, if the whispers of the last several days are to be believed, McLaren has improved by 1/10 more than the prancing horse team. Of course, they remain rumours and should be taken with a grain of salt. Until the teams put their cars on track, they will not know how much they have improved, especially in current regulations where simulations and wind tunnels are not entirely reliable. But we can anticipate what they've done because McLaren surprised us with the MCL39 in camo livery at Silverstone before the F175 event in London yesterday. Last season, McLaren was the best car in the higher downforce circuits, including Hungary and Holland. They enjoyed a significant advantage over their competition. With the high downforce package, we seem to be very competitive. Hungary was a relatively dominant win, like Zandvoort and Singapore, McLaren team principal Andrea Stella admitted. The other cars, particularly Ferraris, were significantly closer on different sorts of circuits. The SF24 was particularly challenging on low downforce courses like Monza and street circuits like Baku. If we look at the low downforce, we know we have a few more problems. But as we saw in Spa and Monza, we have made some steps forward, Andrea Stella has said in recent months. Progress was also accomplished in a pretty aggressive manner, regulation in hand, when we consider the mini DRS, which made the MCL38 particularly high-performing on low-load circuits. The Papaya team declined in this area, as seen in Las Vegas after the tactic was banned. McLaren's 2025 project aims to achieve great efficiency from the MCL39 at all levels of aerodynamic load. The main focus of the 2025 project was on aerodynamic efficiency, explained Andrea Stella. This entailed dramatic changes that reduced the volume of essential components, allowing aerodynamicists more freedom to exploit desired advantages. At first appearance, the 2025 McLaren appears to be very similar to the MCL38 from last year. However, as is typical in the final year of technical rules, the devil is in the details. McLaren's aerodynamicists have more performance to work with thanks to their new chassis. The MCL39's modified core region has been rebuilt to include cooling and other places. This is largely due to Rob Marshall. The MCL39 is the first McLaren under his full direction, having joined from Red Bull in January 2024, when last year's car was in its last stages of development. McLaren does not appear to have ventured into the unknown like Red Bull with the RB20 and its unique cooling system. However, in some areas, such as the front suspension, it has gone beyond some ideals. If not refined, these could be counterproductive. We were very careful in thinking about the 2025 car because the MCL38 was already a competitive car. Therefore, we had to carefully consider how far we wanted to go with innovation. In the end, we decided to take a relatively ambitious approach to make significant progress, said Andrea Stella. According to the McLaren team principal, the MCL39 represents a step forward equivalent to all of last season's enhancements, or around half a second. This figure should not surprise anyone. Other teams will try to emulate these gains. McLaren engineers worked tirelessly to maximize the MCL39's aerodynamic potential. Overall, this should result in positive growth, even in the final year of rules. This includes the front suspension, which looks to have enhanced the anti-dive. However, according to an engineer from a competing team, this modification is considerably less important than the adjustments to the top triangle, because the lower triangle has also seen an overall inclination on its axis. This alteration should be designed to improve aerodynamics rather than mechanical performance. The goal is to increase the downwash effect and maximum flow towards the Venturi channel entrances. Will this be enough for McLaren to maintain their lead? Will Ferrari's 0.4 increase be enough to match McLaren on most tracks? And how about Red Bull and Mercedes? Could they challenge them? The latter, Mercedes, feels that a significant change in its approach to its new Formula One car will help it avoid a trap it has fallen into in recent years. The team is coming off a 2024 F1 season that, despite a string of victories, fell short of expectations as George Russell and Lewis Hamilton battled a car with uneven handling and excessive rear tyre overheating. It was Mercedes' third dismal campaign in a row, as the company has struggled to completely grasp the ground effect generation of vehicles that began in 2022. Ahead of the final year of the existing standards established before the regulations revision in 2026, Russell has revealed a new strategy that the team is pursuing with its redesigned W15. "It's going to be a significant change this year," he said. "It's like every year we've uncovered a problem, we've solved it, and it's created a new one. And we've probably been a lot more disciplined with every change we've made. We have been more thorough than ever in terms of the simulator running, just to ensure we're not going to fall into a new trap. So far it's a reasonable step, but you've got no idea what everyone else is doing." When pressed to expand on what he meant by a trap, Russell stated that Mercedes has previously made the error of focusing solely on resolving specific problems without taking into account the negative ramifications that could arise. "I think in the last couple of years, we've been so focused on solving the problem that we weren't looking ahead to what future issues it would cause," he said. "It's like you solve one thing and then it creates a new problem. So we've been forward thinking much more than we have done in the past. That's quite normal in the world of aero, when you're developing in the wind tunnel. But when you're changing characteristics of the car and how it's going to handle, and how it's going to feel for us driving it, if you make the front stronger, it's going to take away from the rear. And if you go too far, that's just as much of a problem as if it's in the opposite direction. So I think it's really being thorough, saying, right, these are the fundamental changes we're going to make. We think it's going to do X. Is that going to be a problem at these races? And if so, how are we going to drive around it?" Russell feels that Mercedes' failure to adapt to this hazardous trap in the past was due to the oppressive impact that porpoising had on its car 3 years ago. "I think in 2022, there were more issues with the car than first met the eye," he recalled. "Everything was dominated by bouncing, and we couldn't unpick what was bouncing and what were poor characteristics within the car. So it took a good 18 months to solve bouncing. Then we recognized we had a bit of a problem with the suspension, so we changed the suspension. Then that caused a balance problem. These things take time. When something clicks and something works, you sometimes also don't quite know why that is." While Russell believes that the major alterations made by Mercedes will yield in some development on the track, he also understands that it will take until the W16 testing in Bahrain next week to properly know if there has been an improvement. "I think within 5 laps you know if you're in for a good season or not. And we've known within the first 5 laps of the last couple of years that we wouldn't be fighting for the championship, or we knew we wouldn't be fighting at the beginning of the season," he said. "I feel that it's been much more robust this season. All of the teams are so competitive now, and everyone knows the limitation that they've had over these last 3 years. If we bring the performance we expect, it should be a good step forward. But we've seen it with many other teams. They bring an upgrade and it doesn't work. There's never guarantees. So there you have it. Upgrades and expectations from some of the largest teams. But who is going to win it all this season? It appears to be a race between McLaren and Ferrari. What are your thoughts? Let me know your opinions in the comments section below.